The Millennium Development Goals promise to provide universal education by 2015, but sadly it seems the UN are far from achieving this goal. While this may be the scene in many homes across the UK as over 4 million primary students get ready for their school day, it is unfortunately not the same for millions more children across the globe. I travelled to East Africa to find out what issues they still face and why so many of its children are left uneducated. In a report released by A World at School, they have revealed that only 13 nations have made a solid plan to achieve the second Millennium Development Goal. Tanzania is a country full of thriving culture, but it is these beliefs and a corrupt government that seem to be preventing this nation from progressing. These are the stories of the incredible people who, despite their circumstances and adversity, are fighting for a better life. These are the people fighting for the promise of an education.
Without education, lots of kids don't know any better, so they live as per their culture, and then they end up never knowing what better they can do. But once they get education, it's easy for them as well to support their siblings.
Supplying education in Tanzania is becoming difficult as government-funded schools lack quality teachers due to a lack of pay. The chairman of the Mezarani project talks about obstacles the charity has and why he thinks the Millennium Development Goals need more work.
The problem is it's convincing the Tanzanian government that how important education is. Members of the government are too interested in lining their own pockets. Everything is done to look after themselves. The corruption is absolutely horrendous, so there's a massive amount that needs to be done.
Teachers in Tanzania face many struggles due to a lack of resources.
It's hard because they live far. Some of them they live from about 1 to 2 kilometers from the school area, so they come here late. But they need to come here at 7:30.
To keep costs low, government-funded schools are often situated in desolate and isolated locations, making them hard to reach.
What we need is to have enough house for the teachers in our schools.
I found out more about the harsh conditions at these schools and why providing the much-needed staff accommodation was a tough decision for the Mezarani project.
No water whatsoever. The head teacher of Mezarani Chini School slept on the floor. Right. We were reluctant to start with. It's this idea of creating better teachers' houses and giving teachers decent houses, giving them water, giving them solar power. And we were reluctant to start with because we thought, well, that money should be spent on the pupils. It not just attracts teachers, it attracts better quality teachers.
One school that now has adequate accommodation was able to appoint 6 new teachers.
The exam results this year were the best in the history of the school.
Teachers we met were absolutely fantastic. They were so dedicated, to the school. I mean, we provided water tanks to Moita and Kippock, and that was a priority for them. It wasn't just, we need to get the best grades in the school or anything. It was, we need to keep our kids safe.
Clean water, yeah.
There's not enough water in our schools for our environment.
Each teacher cared about each individual student,
yeah.
And that came across from the moment you said hello to them.
Do you think more children in Tanzania need to be educated?
Of course, they need, but they don't have any support. Yeah. But if they get support, okay, they do well.
Unfortunately, many children and teachers in Tanzania and across the developing world do not get the support they need. This leaves them uneducated and living a life with an uncertain future. Access to education is vital in protecting girls from child marriage. If the second Millennium Development Goal can be reached, these girls can live a life without fear. Currently, 4 out of 10 girls in Tanzania will be married before they turn 18.
You'll find some culture, especially the Maasai people, do value their children, especially girls, for wealth.
It is common practice in Tanzania for fathers to receive a dowry payment in exchange for their daughter's hand in marriage. Regina was only 12 when this happened to her.
There was a sound from the bush. Somebody shouting my name, Grace, Grace, Grace. But I was worried, who's that? And then a girl popped on from the bushes, and all she was looking for was sponsorship. She had already been circumcised, and there was a man who was a 60-year-old man who had already started paying dowry for her to be married off.
Regina is not the only girl this has happened to. Teresia was only 15 when she was married and went missing from school. Her sponsor family now explain her tragic situation.
The suspicion was that she'd been sent away to be married to an older man. We then found out that, unbelievably, she'd managed to make her way, walking for miles, back to the school. And then, unfortunately, this happened a second time. So Peter came to see us to discuss the fact that he thought that she was actually pregnant this time. It does mean a lot, and you do kind of feel responsible. It's strange, isn't it?
Feel a bit helpless,
Yeah.
not being able to reach out and give her the guidance that you'd like to give your own children, really.
So really we're just waiting to find out really what's happened to her.
Providing education to young girls in Tanzania can be the difference between them bettering their lives and entering early motherhood. Tanzanian culture believes that once a girl becomes pregnant, they are not allowed to return to school.
Now, by law in Tanzania, if a girl's at secondary school, the father cannot marry her off. It's become a key area of the project now, yeah, and a sort of key aim of ours.
The work of the Mezarani Project and similar charities has saved many girls.
I would say it's played a big role in protecting number of girls that I've witnessed who have been married off.
Fortunately, Regina was placed back into primary school to retake her final examinations. It is hoped she will pass these to progress onto secondary school. Teresia's situation is still unknown and currently being investigated.
You just want her to be happy like you would for your own children, and unfortunately I don't know whether that's possible for her over there now. I just can't believe that, probably barefoot, I don't know how she's found her way back, and after doing all that once, you just can't believe that she's back in that same situation again and not able to finish her education. It's just so sad, isn't it?
Education can provide many girls across the developing world with protection. It can prevent them from entering child marriage and premature pregnancies. But without access to learning, they will be left vulnerable to situations we could only ever imagine. Whilst many students are known for spending their summers on boozy holidays, one group decided to spend their time doing charity work in Tanzania. I travelled and spent time with them and the children they helped as they searched to find the true value of education. This is their story.
I think when you see the reaction of the children, especially the sponsored children, when they meet their sponsors, when they meet the sponsors, the gratitude they show and the desire to learn, it shows how important it is for people who don't get free school.
Nothing like a reaction in the UK, is it?
No.
It's completely different.
Over a year, the team organised various events from music nights to pub quizzes. They raised over £3,000 to take to Africa with them.
Thank you for coming to our quiz night tonight.
It's a bit of fun. Like you say, it applies to a lot of age groups that you can raise a lot of money from.
One of their events posed a tough challenge. Today, in this rather windy and cold weather, staff, family and friends of Acklam Grange, the Mezarani Project and the East Africa exhibition are facing a very tough challenge. They have decided to collectively, individually or in small teams climb this here summit, Rosebery Topping, 18 times to equate to the climbing of Kilimanjaro.
If anyone can actually complete it, they deserve some sort of special recognition, because it is hard.
Say Jambo! The group leaders told me about their motivation for visiting Africa.
Well, we both visited Kenya and Tanzania in 2011 on a school trip, and I think it came from there, really.
Yeah, we left Africa with a promise to ourselves that we weren't going to leave it there. We would return again to Kenya and Tanzania to further what we'd already done.
In sub-Saharan Africa, only 11% of children actually go on to attend secondary education. The East Africa Expedition team explain why they feel access to education is so important.
If you look at the
Nigerian situation, the developing countries, to be able to deal with that, need the proper skills and facilities to be able to do it. And the only way you can achieve those skills is through education. So really, it's sort of like, what is it? Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, feed him for a lifetime kind of thing.
I can see you! Their time in Tanzania gave the team insight into why people wanted education.
Everyone that you talk to in Tanzania, they believe that education is the key to their future. They're the underpinning of the future of the country.
The East Africa Expedition team have succeeded in helping more children get into school. Their work and support of local charities has made a huge difference, and it shows that a lot can be achieved through simple acts of kindness.